Coalition of Black Trade Union Workers, our PAW Town Hall, our political action workshop, and someone who wants to greet you all. We'll introduce our president, Mr. Frank Woods. Good evening, Frank.
Good evening, everyone. I am so honored to have you all here tonight and blessed that we have the opportunity to speak with young folks about this upcoming election and about politics in general. You know, we like to talk to y'all about it, but we don't even ask you about it. So we're listening tonight. We want to know some stuff. So welcome again.
Well, thank you, my brother. So we're going to get right into it. Like I said, Frank and I have been talking about this for a while, and it's been our passion to get our young people involved. We want to listen to them. But we have a young man we're going to listen to. We're going to go right to the program, everybody, because he is such a demand speaker that he has another program he's going to be on. We got him first. So ladies and gentlemen, first let me introduce the entire panel. We are blessed to have Miss Stephanie Young. Say good evening, Stephanie.
Well, good evening, everybody.
Stephanie is a Democratic candidate for the state representing the District 8. She won her primary and she will be up for an election, and we wish her the best. And we also have Mr. Ridgely Hudson. Where are you at there, young man?
I am here. Good evening, everyone.
This is a very special young man in my life, one of my mentees, and he is a state representative at Michigan's Youth in Government, the District Council Executive Board member, the DPSCD, and also a Michigan State University student. So we're really proud of him. Freshman. Yeah, go green. And of course, I know, is Janet Miss Goodwin here yet? Okay, we're gonna go ahead and move on. And then we also have with us, we talk about young dynamic leaders that we have in America. We're blessed to have him in the state of Michigan. He is currently serving as a representative in the State House here in Michigan. He is the youngest man to ever be a state rep sworn in. Mr. Jules Jones, let me state that again. Representative Jules Jones, welcome.
Hey, good evening, brother. Good evening, family. Happy to be here as always.
Glad to have you here. And those who know about him, he was 20 years old when he became an Inkster City Council person, and then he went right into the state legislature. So I'm gonna ask you, Representative Jones, what made you get into politics, especially at a young age?
Well, you know what? I wanted to be a spy when I was younger, and I tell people this all the time. You know, I was planning on, I was living a life like Hollywood. I wanted to be like the Black James Bond or something like that. But because of my parents, you know, they always had me involved in the church and the community. And so one day, you know, of course, I was 19. I was a sophomore at the time. I was very task oriented. I had a chance to go to the Congressional Black Caucus Conference out in DC. And when I went out there, actually the year before I ran, I seen all these Black and brown young people talking about taking this to the next level back home. I get back home that January, seat opened up on city council. The councilman that was in my district said he wasn't running anymore. I was old enough at the time. People told me I should do it, and it just sounded like the right thing to do. I made a Facebook post and said if I got enough likes and comments, we was gonna rock and roll. And I got about 200-300 likes and comments, and I was like, it must be God telling me to do it. So it's been a blessing.
So let me ask you, you know, for you being a young man and being a young politician, dealing with a lot of old heads up there, and I know you must not feel like you're knocking your head against cement. What has been the most frustrating things for you that you found out once you got into the real deal of politics?
Well, you know, I think that on the grand scheme of things, that we're operating a lot of times at such a high level, you know, that we're really looking beyond a lot of issues, that if we solve the issues that are some of the things that affect our daily lives, that we will be able to accomplish a lot of these greater tasks that we actually set out to do. And I think a lot of times, just because, of course, we're all socialized different, people come from different neighborhoods, different communities. It takes a lot of time to really build a relationship with folks. So they know that, okay, this is how my life is in Inkster, no matter how you're living on the west side of the state or how you're living up north. And because of things like term limits and, you know, constantly running back and forth between the district and the capital and campaigning versus creating policy, you always pulled in so many different directions. And so a lot of times it's difficult really to build those relationships. I think that's probably been one of the greatest challenges there, is that back in the day, not to say that I support term limits or not, I think that, you know, that's completely up to the people. I don't necessarily support not having term limits, but I think that we have to get back into the mindset of building community with people all across the state. Because the better off that we we actually realize, cool, I live in Inkster, but it's people on the west side of the state, it's people up north, it's people over here that I need to pay attention to instead of just looking at my one location. When we think about the state as a whole, then we can actually start moving the needle forward.
Well, I know you're a very in-demand speaker. And speaking of young people, what has been the feedback you've gotten from young people about being involved in politics? Do they really see politics as being effective?
I think so. I think now that it's becoming a thing. Of course, we had that stigma that it was kind of like, hey, my vote doesn't count, stuff like that. But I think now, because of just the current state of politics, and a lot of people, you see more young people getting involved in politics now, running for office, going to speak up and speak out at different meetings and different events. And so it's kind of becoming a catch-all for young folks to say, hey, I mean, even with the movies, you have PAW, for example. You had Councilman Tate on there. Not to say that he did good in politics, but politics is becoming is being shown more and displayed more in communities like ours, which is critical. And so regardless if people were involved in it or interested in it before, now they're thinking that, hey, this is an avenue for me to make change, or I need to be in the know so I can increase the way that I handle business, or anything like that. So I think was once the stigma that we kind of weren't involved, that young people don't care about things, but the tide is now turning as we can beginning to change.
I've got a question for you and everybody on the panel. I want you to jump in on this. Now, we say now that millennials, young people, and some members of Gen X generation, right? Well, currently, right now, according to the Brookings Institution, they comprise of 37% of eligible voters. That's roughly the same balance of the electorate as it is with the baby boomers and the pre-baby boomers. This is the first time it's ever happened, the makeup of the electorate being almost the same balance. But for decades, young voters have showed up in low rates at the polls. Do you think that's going to change this year?
Well, I guess I'll hop in that too. I hope so. I think that it's been a lot of, because of who our president is, and because of a lot of other details, I think that people are hoping to get out. And so we're just hoping and praying that from us talking to people and organizing, that it actually shows up and translate into votes on election day, and even before election day, since we're encouraging people to vote absentee. So.
Ridgely, what do you say about that, Ridgely?
So I agree. I think people will turn out to vote. I think we've seen bigger numbers actually already as we head to the election day. And so I think with the current things that has been going on in our country and the things that have happened since this pandemic, I think a lot of people are encouraged to vote. And whether it's absentee or whether it's in person, I think we're going to have a big turnout, and I look forward to that.
Okay, Candidate Young.
All right. Yeah, I'll just, full disclosure, when you guys asked me to participate in this, you're like, there's something with the young people. And I heard about all these young people on the panel. I told you, I wanted to be clear. I was not one of them.
Yeah, she told me that, everybody. She told me, my last name is Young, but also you have a unique story, and that's what we wanted to balance. Because one of the things Frank and I always talk about is for us old heads, and I'm talking about Frank, not me.
I wanted
giving them our experience and sharing our experience with them and listening to them. So what do you say about that question? What are your responses?
Well, and I'm coming to you guys. My response is based on me being a mother of two African-American males, 21 and 22. And so when I talk to my boys about politics and being involved in public service, I talk to them as relates to what are the things that interest you? What are the things that affect your life at your age? And then let's go and walk ourselves backwards. So for my son, who just got his first car, and he went to look to get his own insurance, and they wanted to charge him at 21 $700 a month. That got his attention. So I said, you do know that things like that can be attacked and approached through the legislature, through your elected officials. So when we're able to bring the issues that impact young people's lives right before them, then they understand, I need to get involved. I need to start looking at the people who are running for office who think like I think, and will make the types of decisions that are going to help me in my everyday life. So that's just one of the conversations that I try to have with young people like my boys as well as others.
Okay. And Representative Julie Jones, I know you got to go. Before you go, I want to ask you one last question. We're talking about Black Lives Matter. How do you think that's impacted our youth, our community, and our country in regards to politics?
Well, I definitely showed an increased level of ism just from young people. Of course, it's not necessarily, I think it translates into votes in politics and in policy a lot of times, but other than that, it's a wonderful organized movement. I think even when we talk about the unions, it's similar to that. It's getting people, it's creating a coalition for folks with similar ideas to come around, and they're fighting for a particular group of people, similar to how the unions get down. And I think that, of course, we all have our own opinions how some of these organizations handle their business, but I believe that it's an inside-outside game, and it's important to disrupt, the system that constantly oppresses us for years. And if we can get them to work together for our benefit, I holistically support any organization that's committed to that effort. And so I commend the organizing in the Black Lives Matter movement and other folk just for getting involved. And I think that, I support them. I know some of the founders. I know a lot of people that head up the organizations in their neighborhoods, and I get down with them whenever I get a chance to. I think we all should.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, sir.
What can we do?
Well, hold on.
What can we do to help drive that?
Hold on before you go, Frank. I got to let him go because he has another commitment. So again, we want to thank you, sir.
Brother Joseph, I got to answer. I got to answer, Frank. I can't. If Frank asks me a question, I got to answer.
Go ahead, Frank,
I appreciate that.
You're going to hang on with us for a minute. All right, go ahead, sir.
Joe?
I didn't hear the question.
What can we do? I mean, tell us what we need to do to help you get these messages across about how everything that is affected by their lives is driven by politics. Well,
I think it's important. We just got to keep meeting people where they're at. And that's the most critical piece. Of course, it's a lot different. The world's falling apart. So we can't have events. A lot of people aren't comfortable with us being on their doorstep or having a lot of, people in concentrated areas. But I think we just have to keep figuring out how do we put ourselves in front of people so we can have that conversation. Because I think at the cusp of any change is based on relationships, is based on unity, a lot of these different things. And so it's going to take us all coming together. And the first step of us coming together is going next door and meeting your neighbor, going across the street and meeting your neighbor. And so what I would encourage folks to do is just push forth those kind of ideas like, hey, we've been living on blocks for a long time. We know neighborhoods that we've been living in. We know neighborhoods where our grandparents, sisters, brothers, cousins, friends, family are living in. We see the neighbors all the time. We see them going in the house, coming out the house. Just stop some time and say hi. And if we can build those kind of relationships just on that small level, and next thing you know, we have ambassadors everywhere. And so when it's time to do something major, it's time to do something large, or we need everybody concerned and concentrated, all you gotta do is put the word out, and it'll be just like the good old times, before I was born, before cell phones and computers and all that stuff was big, and y'all had movements going on from this side of the world to other continents. So I think we need to get back to that, but it begins with us talking to each other and just, coming together in unity and love. That's what I would say.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Is Ms. Goodwin online? Did she join us yet? Ms. Goodwin, are you there? Okay, no. We're still waiting for her to come. So
I just sent her a message.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ridley, could you answer the same question?
Thank you, Joel. Representative Jones, thank you very much. You have a blessed and get on to your next meet, my brother.
Thank you.
And by the way, everybody, he's also a veteran, so thank you for your service, my brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Peace and love, family.
All right, man. We'll have you back on. Don't worry about that.
Definitely.
Thanks for stopping by, bro. So, Mr. Ridgely, President Woods has asked a very, very heavy question. Let me hear your response.
Well, Mr. Jones, his answer was long and very interesting, and so I did miss the question. So could you repeat that, please, Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Frank, he asked you to repeat the question.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Well, I asked Representative Jones, what it is we can do? How can we better assist you all with getting the message spread about how politics affects everything in your daily lives to the younger folks? How can we better help you with that?
Well, I think, as Mr. Jones said, it's just as you're giving us the platform to share our feelings and share how we think and our perspective on how we feel about politics and things of that nature. also giving us the leeway to speak. Many times, especially in our community, voice is silenced, that their voice doesn't matter. So I think being able to allow young people, students, uh, the right to speak up when it's the time is necessary, and giving them the platform to utilize their voice, to speak their voice. We've seen in our country and during this time a lot of people trying to mute our mics, and when I say mute our mics, that means to silence us. And so I think it's important that we know, because there's a scripture that says that people lack because of people perish for lack of knowledge, right? And so when people know that they have a voice, then they will speak louder, they will speak with confidence, they will speak boldly, and they will make sure that their voice is heard. So I think just by allowing young people to have that right, allowing young people to walk freely and to be engaged. Ask young people, what do you think? Ask them, how do you feel? How can we assist you? How can we help you? And let's move forward. So pushing their vision forward, I think that's important. That's one thing that can help young people in this political era.
Okay, and we've been joined by Miss Janet Goodwin. Can you say hello, everyone? Good evening.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Is she there, or did we lose her again?
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, hi. And we're
Hey.
going to keep running with the conversation, but everybody knows this is one of my mentees. I love her so much. But she's also a Gates Scholar, and she's also the Vice President of Academics at Alabama A&M University. And so we're going to jump right into a question to you.
Okay.
Traditionally, young people have not voted. Whether they thought it was important or not. How do we get more people involved in the process? And is it the stereotype true? Are young voters apathetic, uninterested, and some people even claim that they're lazy?
I feel that I don't feel like they're not interested in it. It's something that I think they just forget about. They put on the back burner, but they talk about, you see what I'm saying? So they talk a lot about it, but they aren't putting a lot of action into what they're speaking. So they feel this way. They feel that way. But it's like you haven't even registered to vote. Like I was just in when I went to Atlanta for an internship meeting, like a week and a half ago, I was speaking to some of my friends from HU that I know down there. And they were just, ranting about the whole debate and everything. And I'm just like, well, are you guys even registered? It was like, no, not yet, though. Not yet. I'm like, y'all in Georgia, y'all think, y'all got one more day to register. And so I, helped 3 people register to vote at like 11 o'clock at night. But, I guess they have to hear it more so from people their age, I guess, to get involved in it as well as we are. They don't really know much about it. Their parents don't vote. So it's like, it's just trying to get the youth to understand the importance of it is not the hard thing, but I feel like we could set up little programs or things like that. Like our campus right now, every RA had to make sure that everyone on the floor was registered to vote. So either it was here or back at home, even though like I'm registered to vote back at home, here I was able to register to vote too. So it was just, because it's an easier process. So it's just about getting it done, making it a forefront of your agenda and not putting it in back end all the time.
You're at a historically Black college. So you're telling us that the interest is low about the election?
Not here. That was just the public circumstance I was in. Yeah, but no, here we're pressing it really well.
Alabama is already rock and roll. Well, let me ask a question to all the panels, and Frank, you on the panel now. You're going to take that spot. The representative laws. Everybody, we see with COVID-19, the civil unrest, the continual police violence, and we always can see to say her name, Breonna Taylor, Justice for Breonna. And is that something that's going to stop people from getting involved in the political process, or do you think it's something that will motivate them to get is a perfect storm to harness a new generation of Americans to get involved? What do you guys think about that?
Anybody want to speak before I do?
I will. I think it depends on the individual. I think for me, it has really definitely motivated me, and then motivate me to help others, motivate them to actually vote because we see this injustice, we see this civil unrest, we see this police brutality that's currently going on, and then we see politicians and political leaders who are actually encouraging these things going on in our country. And so I think it is important as an African American male from an urban community to actually vote, because not only do we vote for the president, but we vote for attorney generals who are the head of the state. And so, as we've seen in the Breonna case, people were just blaming the president when it was also the attorney general. People don't understand that you can vote for the attorney general, right? So it is important that we vote people in who are for justice, who are for equity and equality. And so I think it has impacted those who care, those who believe that lives indeed matter. I think that it has encouraged them. Now, it may encourage some people because of they saying that these things are going on, the same things are going on in our country, and these things happen all the time. Things are not going to change. However, that's because we have not done what we're supposed to do. And I think we must vote. It's important that we do vote, even when they're trying to mute our mics, and even when they're trying to prevent us from voting early, voting in packs. They're stopping everything that they can do to stop us from voting. That is proof that our vote matters, and it is definitely important in this time. And I think that people should see the motivation from what currently has been going on in our country.
Representative Candidate Young,
Yeah.
I want you to weigh in, but also weigh in from your over 30 years experience. You were a neighborhood city manager, director of outreach for Detroit area agency, and being a Department of Neighborhood district manager. From your experience and dealing with people in the community face to face, same question to you.
Yeah, I start at the place that I mentioned earlier. Everything starts with a conversation and understanding those things that affect your individual lives. Black lives matter. So for all Black people, that immediately gets our attention. Why do they matter? And I love this example that my 21-year-old gave, because you run into the conversations where people say, well, all lives matter. How come we just got to call out Black lives matter? And so my son Dave, he's just like, Mom, but you think about it. If there's a fire, if our house is on fire, is the fire department going to stop at every other house before they get to our house, the house that's on fire? That doesn't make any sense. You go to where the problem is. And so it's within the African American community where we have been systemically shut out of opportunity. We have been systemically arrested for just being Black while driving. And all of those things are now starting to permeate with our young people. They're starting to see it wasn't just a part of my parents' generation or my grandparents' generation. It's happening to my friends. It's happening to young people like Breonna Taylor, who sleep in her own house. And the only way to cause a change is to look at the people who are putting these systems in place. And the people who put the systems in place are elected officials. They are the people that we vote for. And when you look at the people that you're voting for, or even guess what? Because when you don't vote, what did you do? You voted for somebody you didn't even want in office. Making certain young people see that the things that are affecting their lives are tied to their vote. I love what the young lady said, Miss Goodman. And she said she was doing what, you all? She said she was having a conversation with her friends, with some other young people, and they were like, no, we ain't even registered. And she got busy. It's so important for us to talk to young people, and not just talk at, but talk with, discuss, and listen. And then from that point, once they know we're listening, because like I said, I'm the old armor guy. They got to know we listening, y'all, us older people. They got to know that we're listening and that their issues matter, and that we're willing to help them navigate. But it starts with making certain that their voices are being heard.
Now, let me ask you, all of you, the panel, what do you think are the top 3 issues that our young people would like to see addressed today? What are the 3 their most concerns? Ms. Goodwin?
The most concerns right now, like with our community, I would say with police brutality, equal rights. I feel like a lot of young people feel like we're not listened to, or we don't
That's right.
understand what you guys understand, which
Mhm.
gives it a conflict. And I feel like with that conflict, they just shut ears off, and the light bulb and everything go off. So I feel like that would be another issue they would like to see addressed. And let me think of another one. Me personally, I would like to, feel more involved. Like, I don't feel like they press the youth to be involved, like the politics and stuff, like so how they do, but it's like I want to see forefront understand certain things, and you don't receive some of that information until you get to my level. And me, even I'm excited about this year because I'm a first time voter. So
Congratulations.
thank you. I was too young the last time, but I'm excited about this time. So I feel like I'm going to make a difference with just my vote. And I feel like once we all get an understanding of making that difference, and it doesn't matter if you feel like everyone heard your voice, as long as one person heard your voice, that's what matters. So just pushing those things and those rights and giving us that opportunity and space, I feel like those are some keys.
Ridgely, what about you? What do you think are the pressing issues with people of your generation?
I think, as Jana said, I think it's a lot of things. I don't think it's three. I can't minimize three, but I think COVID-19 has played a tremendous role in that's one of the issues that we're facing. So young people normally around this time, it's the end of the summer, people want to go out, they want to do things, and now we have restrictions on certain things that we can do. And then we lost a lot of loved ones this year. It has been devastating, and so verbally I can't express the devastation that has brought to many families. I think healthcare. Currently this administration is trying to remove healthcare for especially young people having healthcare on their parents' account up to 26. And so that's something that's important. And then for me, both my parents are deceased, so now I have to figure out a way to get public health care. And if not, then I have to get a job to pay for it. I think that's a terrible issue as well. And coming from someone like from a community that I come from, that's one of the issues that many people are facing. Then, like Jana said, police brutality. So I, as an African American male, every day I wake up and wonder, is it going to be me? Or can I prevent this to happen in my life? And so I think there's a lot of factors that play into that. Just like seeing what the media is doing, how they're playing both games and trying to deceive young people now. So now you see one side is saying this about one particular individual, and then the other side is saying this about the other particular individual, and now we don't know who to believe. And so I think being able to have platforms or programs like this to inform young people, I think that's an issue too, because we don't have too many programs and platforms and different things to inform young people on issues that we face in politics. So a lot of young people are uninformed, so they don't know about healthcare, they don't know about police brutality unless they see it and their parents saying it. They don't know about the effect of COVID-19, but other underlying conditions and how it has impacted our country today. So I think just being able to be informed, and I think about addressing some of those issues and many other issues about education, having education. Coming from Detroit Public Schools, we have seen that we don't get paid as much as Bloomfield and other communities. So I think valuing students and valuing young people is important.
So I'm hearing education, I'm hearing about healthcare and those things. Well, we're near the end of the program and we could not close this program. I'd like to bring Frank on. Frank, I know Frank wants to give you guys some encouraging words. To you, thank you for being on the program, but also all our young people are watching this. Brother Frank?
Well, yeah, I was, one of the things I want to do, I proposed that we do a listening series, listening to our young folks. We can do that through CBTU, and we should try to set that up as soon as possible. I have a 24-year-old in my house, and you all know he's been baptized in politics. So I mean, he's very politically astute. And I need to get his voice. I need him to have a platform because he talks to his friends, but it's like you say, you have those conversations, and then it just ends, and it's nothing that really piques their curiosity that makes them want to drive and do anything else with it. So I believe a listening tour, a listening series is something that we should really look at, put together, Michael and
Yeah.
Phil, especially going into Christmas and even after. It's something we should do monthly so we can find out and discuss these issues with the young people.
And listen to our young people. And again,
Okay.
Stephanie Young, candidate for District 8, State Rep of Michigan. I want to give you some opportunity to make closing remarks.
Thank you. I know I started saying amen while the young man was talking. They was like, let me cut her mic off. So, I know. I appreciate you all for this platform. I particularly appreciate the fact that you're being intentional about our young people. We can't assume that somebody else is having these conversations with them. And so whenever I'm invited to be a part of, please, I'll be here and I'll bring young people with me. I'm just like you, I'm mentoring young people myself and bringing them up, not necessarily be a politician. I hate the P word, but public servant. Giving back and making certain that we have impact, positive impact in people's lives. So bless you all and thank you.
And thank you so much. It was a time when the word politician had a lot of respect to it. But I like what you said about being intentional. Everybody out there listening to this program, be intentional with your vote. Make sure that you go out and vote. You still have time to do that. I have right here a ballot right here, a form right here. You can go get that application for absentee ballot, but it is imperative that you vote for whoever you want to vote for. That's important. So with that, I want to thank our guests, Ms. Jana Goodwin, Mr. Ridgely Hudson, and Ms. Stephanie Young, and also our youngest state rep in the history of Michigan, Representative Jewel Jones, for being on the program. And we want to again thank you all. We have a very, very special program coming up. Frank, I can't tell them who it is, but I can just say it's the first. You ever heard of the first Black lieutenant governor and the first Black man who was president of UAW? Look out, y'all. They might be coming your way really, really soon. And Frank also has something he want to share with you that we're going to be doing next week.
Well, yeah, next week we have actually a health fair. It's in Highland Park where we're going to help distribute food and where people can come out. But hopefully we can make sure that COVID test truck is going to be there. Stephanie?
No, keep going.
Okay.
You said there's a food truck coming. I don't know if you all know this. I just got this information today. And I just want people to know that the food that's being delivered, those prepackaged boxes from both Gleaners and Forgotten Harvest, have a special message. A letter has been included in those boxes from the FDA, from the president. So
he's taking advantage of that, yeah.
Yeah, so be on the lookout. Some organizations have taken it upon themselves to just take the letter out. But I wanted people to know who are telling me about anytime there's a food distribution and you're getting those boxes, just to have a heads up about that.
Well, I'm gonna give you a heads up. We're planning another one. We don't have a date for it yet. And I just received 100 boxes to the office today. So we're planning another one in the future before the end of the month. So stay tuned.
So everybody take the food and take the letter and throw the letter away. Don't even worry about the letter. It's like a stimulus check. Don't even worry about the letter. Just cash that check.
What letter? What letter?
We tell everybody.
I'm do a purge.
Everybody, if you haven't, again, go get your absentee ballot application. You turn around, get it, fill it out, turn around, give it back to them, turn around, ask for your ballot, turn around, fill it out, turn around and give it back to them, and you're done. Vote, vote, vote. Again, we thank our panelists here. Everybody, we got to thank everybody. Give a round of applause to Phil. Big Phil keeping us all together. Thank you, Phil. Phil's the man. So again, we thank everybody for watching tonight, and we'll see you next week on another edition of our Political Action Workshop, PAW, with the Coalition of Black Trade Unions. Thank you for watching, everybody. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, y'all.
Good night.
Good night.